Aloha, John Livgren here in beautiful Kailua Kona, Hawaii. And I want to talk about suicide and oponopono today a little bit, yeah. I put a post up on Facebook earlier and holy moly, it drew a lot of attention, a lot of comments, a lot of thank yous. And in the process of doing that, I realized that there needs to be a little more than someone can write in a post that gets lost in timelines on Facebook. So I've decided to talk story a little bit and record it, and we'll see where it goes from there, yeah. Suicide is, I don't know, there's new stuff out there that it's rising faster than it ever has since 1999. I don't know, you know, if there's one, that's too many. So play with your statistics all you want, let's stop it, yeah. We don't need to be counting numbers, let's figure out how to put an end to this stuff. So suicide, having been there, real briefly, I committed suicide back in 1991 and succeeded. So I thought. Here I am, so obviously I didn't do a very good job. But I did experience the feeling of freedom, love, unconditional love, and brief moment of what I thought I was looking for, yeah? And then the next thing I remember, I'm seeing white lights flashing by me. And I realize that I'm on a gurney in a hospital going down the hallway, looking up at the ceiling. So, yay, I'm glad to be here, you know, and I think that for some of us, no matter what we do, we're going to have to stick around till we fulfill our kuleana, our purpose. And it's, you know, there's a lot of nonsense out there. It's the coward's way out, it's this, it's that, you know, and I like to come back to what Ho'oponopono has taught me, and that is that all judgment is self-judgment. So the first thing to do is to stop judging people that are feeling suicidal, because that's pretty much why we feel suicidal in the first place. We feel like we're being judged all the time. And I'm not worthy of it. I can't live up to what your expectations are. I can't live up to what you think I should be. Yeah, I mean, I can only speak from my own experience and, well, numerous others that I've helped them change their mind about that. Yeah. And it's just, it's an inside job, yeah? Ho'oponopono, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Really simple. All we have to do is remember those 4 phrases, and the order doesn't matter. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And as I said, back in 1991, I went through that experience and pretty much was at a place of, well, suicide is no longer an option for me because it just doesn't work. But you know, when we get caught up in life and life stuff and what's going on around us and the choices that we make, 15 years hence that point, I was contemplating it again. I had gotten myself into a situation that I could not find a way out. Everywhere I turned was, you know, just didn't feel good, mostly. And I was getting to that place of hopelessness. And I think that's really where suicide comes in, when we just hit hopeless. There's just absolutely nothing left. But I'm here to say that there's always hope. As long as we have that spark of light within us, there's always hope, yeah? And so 15 years later from the suicide in 91, 2000 something, I don't know, it came to me, and I can still remember. It's weird, I haven't thought about it in a long time, but maybe I need to. And I remember writing in a journal, and just every which way I turned, if she would stop doing that, and they would stop doing this, and he would stop doing that, and where am I going to get the money to pay this bill, and oh my God, I don't know what to do, and all of a sudden it came to me, and I remembered Ho'oponopono somehow. I started saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Wow, I feel a little bit better. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Yeah. So I just started saying it over and over, much as I could, anytime I wasn't involved in conversation or something. And it wasn't long, and I came out of that depression, I came out of that suicidal place, you know, and ended up getting a job that was pretty good. I liked it, you know, and started moving up and going to work every day, and life started getting better, way better, and pretty fast. And so I got caught up in life and doing the job, and you know, I forgot about Ho'oponopono. I forgot what got me there. And things started going back to the old way before I was doing it, and started going back downhill, and I wasn't paying attention apparently. And 2011, I ended up jobless and homeless. Not hopeless, just jobless and homeless. And all of a sudden I got that wake-up call again. Hey, Ho'oponopono worked last time, it's probably going to work this time. And I started doing the same thing, saying it over and over and over. And within a month, I got the job that I have today and love dearly. And just long story shorter, within the first year, I got won 3 awards, had 2 promotions, and moved to Hawaii in a year. I mean, that's unfathomable to me. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I couldn't imagine that kind of thing happening. And so it was very simple. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. That's all you really need to know. The coolest part is, it's that simple. You don't have to understand it, you don't have to feel it, you just need to say it over and over and over. And you know, we can talk story in detail as to how and why it works. I can tell you that all day long, and do sometimes. But I'll be doing talk stories throughout the country starting this month. And you can always contact me on my website or Facebook and PM me. And if you want to get more details or need some help passing this on to someone, please contact me and let me know. And understanding too that with suicide, the survivors are the really victims in a suicide. And so we need to be able, as friends or loved ones of a suicide person, we need to come into the idea and understand that we didn't have anything to do with it. It wasn't us, it wasn't our responsibility. And our only responsibility is to live from a place of love, so that if we start to see somebody like that, we start to notice friends, and we notice when they start going down that path of depression and isolation, etc., etc. And for me, I've, as I said earlier, helped a number of people. One in particular I remember, a buddy called one time and he said, I can't do it anymore, bro, I'm just going to do myself in. And I was like, okay, well, how are you going to do that? And he said, well, I'm going to use my rifle. I said, well, what kind of rifle? He said, a .22 rifle. I said, oh boy, that's a stretch, bro. Can you reach the trigger? And he's like, what? And I said, well, you know, that's kind of a long ways down there. And how old are your bullets? And he was like kind of freaking out. He's like, what do you mean, how old are my bullets? And I said, well, bro, if you put in a, you know, 6 or 7 year old bullet or whatever and it misfires, what are you going to do then? That would be worse, wouldn't it? And he kind of started laughing. And then 20 minutes later, he met me where I was at the Alano Club in Scottsdale. So, you know, we can spend all day long, oh, I'm so sorry, and feeding into their pity, you might say. But what I've noticed, and that's happened a couple times. I worked at a police department years ago as a dispatcher, and our job when somebody called with a suicide as a dispatcher was to keep them on the phone. And I remember one call that he was going to commit suicide, so same thing, how are you going to do that? Well, X-Acto knife. Oh, okay, yeah, that works pretty good actually. But do you have new blades? And he's like, what? I said, well, new blades, bro. You don't want to mess it up, do you? And yeah, I'm not going to go into the rest of the story. I'm not going to explain how to do it. Just to say that my job then was to keep them on the phone until help got there. And it worked, you know? So don't be afraid to meet them on the same ground they're coming at. Because what I found out through doing that, and it's happened a few times since, is that's coming from a place of love. We don't understand it 100%, and it sounds like we're being mean, but when we talk to them in that way, then they know that we love them enough to be able to you know, make it as graceful for them as we can if they decide to, and never has that happened. They always come back and they always start laughing usually. It's like, boy, what was I thinking? That's ridiculous. And, you know, don't be afraid to call them on their shit. Yeah, because Ho'oponopono brings us to a place of personal 100% responsibility. We're 100% responsible for everything in our lives. And myself and pretty much everybody I knew that's been in that suicide thought thing felt like they were worthless. We felt worthless, like nobody cared, like we didn't matter, right? And sometimes hard truth, you know, and tough love, as they call it, is the one thing that shows them that we do matter. Yeah, when we just kind of buy into their thing and offer sympathy and empathy, it's not helping anything and not helping them, not helping us. And so we need to just meet them where they're at, you know, and when we learn to come into true unconditional love, it's easy to love them where they're at, whoever it is, whatever they're doing. And when we love people where they're at, they respond very favorably. So yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about it. Suicide's running rampant. There's, you know, it's easy to figure out when you look around, but it's still unacceptable. And there's still so much that can be done to prevent it. And from my perspective, oponopono is the simplest, most effective way I've seen in 30 some years. So I implore you to try it on for size, feel into it. That's the other thing. We cannot think our way out of suicide. I didn't. I don't think anybody I worked with did or helped, you know, change their mind. We have to feel it. We have to feel our way out of it. And if we're going to help them, all we have to do is love them. Just give them some semblance of a matter that they matter. Some semblance of that feeling that they make a difference. Yeah. And let's do that. Start loving one another, you know, and pay attention. Because yeah, sometimes we can see the signs. I ask people sometimes, how you doing? They're like, okay. And I can feel it. And I say, how you doing? And then usually they'll stop and say, you know, not so good. And we start to talk story. And so you just listen. Love them where they're at. We don't have to fix anything. A lot of times we just need to fix ourselves by talking about it. So let that happen. And let them fix themselves. And stand by to love them if they struggle through it. And be with them. And just, you know, keep them here. If you're thinking about suicide, call me, you know, contact me on Facebook. My info will be at the end of this thing. And yeah, it's always brighter on this side. And as they say, this too shall pass, whatever it is. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. E aloha aku. E aloha mai. Aloha.